Hello to all my beaver babes out there, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be answering the question, how would I judge Canada's Drag Race Canada versus the World Season 2? Now this season of Drag Race was a very interesting one to me. I ended up really enjoying myself throughout this process. I really like this cast. I like everybody on this cast. It kind of felt... I don't know what the best way to describe it is. In comparison to all the other Versus the World seasons we've seen so far, this one has really felt like a kind of celebration of some of these contestants. Like, let's give them like another shot, specifically our top four mainly, and Eureka. Of like, these are legends that have never cinched the win. Let's give them all another chance. And I kind of liked that in a way. It wasn't fun that, the first or 3 out of the first 4 eliminated contestants were all people who had only been competing for their second time. That wasn't particularly nice in my opinion. It kind of dampered the season for me. That's not the right phrasing, but you know what I mean. But regardless, I still did enjoy this season overall, and I think that's really due to the cast and due to these challenges. I think the challenges, they were inventive and they worked for me. The rules to remember, as always, are the season has to be as long as season 2 of Canada's Drag Race Canada versus the World originally was, which is 6 episodes, 5 competitive episodes in the finale. And the performances and the challenges need to be based off of how well someone did or how people would predict they would do. So I'm not just going to put somebody in the top when they were originally in the bottom, or vice versa, unless there is strong fan support for that being the case. And the goal, as always, is to act as if I'm the head judge and craft this season however I can imagine to make it as fun and eventful as possible, while also being fair with my judging of the season by combining my own personal tastes and what was shown to us on the show. Before we get into the meat of this video though, please like, comment, and subscribe if you end up enjoying yourself. I really appreciate the support lately on the videos, so I would appreciate your subscriptions and your comments and stuff. That would be nice. Anyways, let us get on into it. Alright, here in episode 1, we already have ourselves a bit of a major change. It's not going to be that major in the grand scheme of things, but it is a change. So in episode 1, we have ourselves the Girl Groups Challenge, which I always find fun as a beginning challenge, especially, you get to split them into the 3 groups of 3. It's very nice and succinct and fun, and I like it. I did obviously keep the groups the same. There's no reason this would change, and more importantly, I did keep the same format in this version of the season of the Golden Beaver. Now, I did think prior to the season, I was like, okay, Golden Beaver is going to be weird with this season because you only got 5 episodes, and so there's less time for it to like develop and everything, and it kind of, it would have potentially felt better for it to be a top 2s, like lip sync for the win season. And I do still think it would potentially be more interesting if that was the format of it. But I do think it ended up being an okay twist on the season. And the Beaver is the Canadian, it's their shtick, it's their thing. And so it would have felt weird if I just like took it out from the season. So I decided to keep it. The tops I kept completely the same. Lemon very much won this challenge for me, and Cheryl and Kennedy being in the top group get the high placement. It makes complete sense to me. Our safe group of Fierce Delicious, LaPhil, and Tainomi again also makes complete sense. I kept them there as well. I do think Tainomi and LaPhil did wonderful jobs at this challenge though. And if this challenge were being judged individually, part of me would feel compelled to put one or both of them high maybe, but that's really hard in my opinion. The only placements I'm really confident on are Lemon did my favorite, my bottom 2 of Kahana, and Eureka. I would have put Fierce Delicious as low and Alexis as safe. I don't think either of them did particularly better over the other. I just think, Alexis was 6th place out of the 9, just a bit more than Fierce Delicious, who I think was like 7th place out of the 9. But the other 4, in terms of determining who's high and who's safe, I don't know what the fuck I would do, honestly, at this point. I don't know what to tell you. So the fact that this, it's a group challenge and was already judged in groups is very convenient for me. And our bottom team is still going to be the same: Alexis Mateo, La Cajena, and Eureka. Now, Lemon gets to choose who she's going to save out of the bottom three, and she did originally save Alexis because she did the best in the group, and there's no reason why that would change. So our bottom two of La Cajena and Eureka is going to stay the same, and those two are going to be lip syncing to Meaningless by Charlotte Cardin. And this lip sync song, oh my god, I love this song. I've been addicted to this song since I heard it on the season. I never heard it before this episode and this lip sync song, but I love it. Charlotte Cardin, I love you for this song. It's a stellar piece of music. It really, really is. But in this lip sync, I think Kahana did better. I really do think Kahana did better. I felt Kahana more with the face in a way, because like they both were giving the emotional, face and doing that and everything with the lip sync. But when Eureka goes into these like other moves, the high kicks and and everything, it takes me out of it. I'm immediately like, oh, why? Like it truly just I'm removed from the equation. And like a Hannah's reveal of the eyes on her hands, it was an interesting reveal because it wasn't like one of those moments like a high kick or like a split or anything where it's like, this doesn't go with this song. But the eyes thing, I saw it and I immediately was like, oh, that's interesting. Like it was an intriguing reveal, which is, I think if you're doing this type of song, the reveal needs to be one that's like A, emotional, or B, like intriguing. And I definitely think Kahana's fills in that second criteria. And so I really do think La Kahana did better this lip sync. And also, I like no shade to Eureka or anything from this because, like, we all know Eureka's a stellar fucking drag queen. Has made the finale of 2 different seasons of Drag Race before this. Obviously has the fucking chops and is a stellar performer. But the gaggery of first out La Kahana sending out 2-time runner-up Eureka, episode 1. Oh my god. It would have started off the season with such a bang. Oh my goodness. Literally, everybody would have been like, what? And it would have been such a gaggy moment. It really would have. And I do think it's the fairest way to go about it. So why wouldn't it happen? I'm sorry to Eureka, but this is what I feel. I think Kahana did better. We're moving on to episode 2. Alrighty, in episode 2 we had ourselves the acting challenge. And I love this challenge. I am obviously a reality TV obsessed individual, and it's called The Hole, which is like a reference to the mole, but they're obviously parodying the Traitors, which was annoying to me as a television fan to be like, okay, why are we mixing up these two things? These are not equivalent to each other. Are they similar? Yes. Are they the same? No. So why are we doing that? But anyway, my minor gripes aside, this was a super fun improv challenge. Obviously here we have La Cajena instead of Eureka. So the question is, what role does Kahana have in this kind of acting challenge? Eureka plays the soap opera star like archetype in the original version of the challenge, and I could see Kahana potentially doing that as well. There are really none of these roles in particular that I like look at and be like, oh, Kahana would gun for this role, like off the jump. There really aren't any that like truly fit that for me. So in this version of the judging, I just said Kahana's gonna be like the soap opera archetype character. Which I do think is, in general, one of the more likely ones. I feel like fits with Kahana, and how she would try to do like a drag race acting challenge, which is like an overacting challenge. Regardless, I still don't think Kahana would do particularly well in this challenge. I think would be in the bottom. But getting to the top 3 of Cheryl, Kennedy, and Lemon stay the same as they were originally, but originally Kennedy won the challenge. I decided to switch that to Cheryl because Cheryl really was the star of the show for me. And Cheryl didn't win solely because of the runway, which I felt was kind of shitty. Because for me personally, I am the type of judge, or at least when it comes to Drag Race, where I really never take the runway into account on a challenge that's not a runway challenge, unless in my mind it is truly like a tie and I'm like, I don't know who to choose. Then I might go for, okay, this person had a significantly better runway, so they're gonna win. I don't tend to do that. Like, obviously I'm gonna judge it off the runway if it's like a ball challenge or a makeover challenge, but like when it comes to an acting challenge, bitch, like this might just be me personally, but a person could do fucking phenomenal, far and away the best job in this challenge, and wear, like a plain black bodysuit for their runway, and then some other person could be a bit worse in the challenge, but still like wonderful, and have the most exquisite, gorgeous garment that's ever been seen. And I'm still gonna give the win to the first person because they did better in the challenge. Like I feel like if we're gonna take runways into account, we need to like standardize how much a runway matters. That's just the way that like my analytical, like stats obsessed brain works with it personally. Uh but it, I just don't think Cheryl's runway was bad enough to deny her this win. And so I'm gonna give her the win here. Um because we have Kahana here, I do think Kahana would do in the bottom 3 of this challenge. I don't know exactly how bad she would do, but I do solidly feel that she would do worse than Fierce Delicious, who was originally low, is now going to get bumped up to the safe because I think Kahana would do worse. And Eureka's not here, so we eliminate one of our safes and we have to find a new one. So I think Fierce Delicious is the best bet for that because her character wasn't like that bad. It was a bit like one note, but it was, it was still like a solid character that like had moments and content. And not to talk about the runway like literally after. I said that I don't really take the runway into account that much. She did have the best runway of the night, in my opinion. So, it makes perfect sense for me for Fierce Delicious to be safe. This means that the bottom 3 is going to be LaPhil, Tainomi Banks, and La Kahana. Now, Cheryl did not get to use the Golden Beaver in the original version of the season, so the question is, who would she use it on? And I think the most likely answer is definitely LaPhil. I mean, first of all, LaPhil's from the UK, so already, kind of got the sisterhood going there. And I think that Cheryl would feel that out of all of the bottom 3, that LaPhil did the best because he did do pretty good. And like not a great job in the challenge, but did an alright job in the challenge. LaPhil did. And I think Cheryl would also think that he did, pretty good in the first challenge as well, despite placing safe. So it just wouldn't like make sense, I feel like, for Cheryl to pick anybody else to be saved. So that means Tainomi Banks and La Kahana are going to be lip syncing in this episode. And they are going to be lip syncing to Let Me Think About It by Ida Core and Freddie LeGrand. And Tainomi did a pretty good job on this song originally, so I do think she would win the lip sync. And this is also Kahana's second bottom 2 in a row, so I'm just hedging my bets that Tainomi would win here and send Kahana home. But at least this time Kahana got to last an episode and like prove something, which is like, hey, I can do a lip sync better than Eureka, who is like known as a great lip syncer. Like I succeeded in that. I have a stat to pin on my Drag Race board, and so I'm happy that we got that for La Kahana in this version of the season. Episode 3, we have the ball challenge. Now originally Eureka was here. But instead we have LaPhil. And I think if you've seen LaPhil's looks on social media, you know that LaPhil is going to be high in this challenge. There's no way he wouldn't. Honestly, LaPhil could have won this challenge, but I'd settled on the high placement. and ended up keeping the win for Alexis Mateo, because I was more surprised by her. And I think the like look of the overall package as a whole, I do think the advantage goes to Alexis Mateo there. But LaFille, I'm just gonna put the pictures on screen right now if I haven't already. You can see the two looks that he would have prepared for the AI category and the robot category, and those are both stellar looks. Because I'm choosing to put LaFille in the high placement, I do have to bump down Lemon to safe, which I do feel like is correct. I mean, Lemon's robot runway is so fucking good. It's like, it's maybe the best runway of the night, but looking at the design outfit that she had to make, it's definitely like my sixth favorite, I would say. I'm not the biggest fan of it. The shaping of it and the proportionizing, to use Eureka's terms of it all, like kind of confuses me, and I'm just not the biggest fan of it. But again, we've for Lemon, for me, we've like one of the best in a category, one that's like second to worst, and then one that's like, I think the other one I put is like kind of like in the middle, or like high middle. So a top, middle, and a bottom equals out to a middle, which equals safe. So that felt like it made the most sense to me to put Lemon in the safe placement. And our bottom three is going to be entirely the same, of Kennedy, Cheryl, and Tainomi Banks. Alexis, getting the power to choose, originally did save Kennedy in the situation, so I do think she would obviously choose to save Kennedy again. And Cheryl and Tainomi are going to lip sync to "What the Hell" by Avril Lavigne. And Cheryl did do better in this lip sync, I believe. It was kind of close in my opinion, but I do think Cheryl did better. And then if we're going off track record, we have Cheryl's win in high placement, and Tainomi's safe in bottom two placement. So it's obvious Cheryl's gonna stay here. And we're going to move on to episode 4. In episode 4, we had ourselves the Reading Battles Challenge, which I thought was super fun, and I would love to see them do something similar to this again. I think it would be so fun to have this as a recurring challenge as well, because we have the reading mini challenge every season. Why can't we just sub it out for like a reading battle, or do both? Why not? You only get like a couple reads per person in the reading challenge anyway. So like, why not just expand it into this reading battle as well and do both? I think that's really fun. So they are placed in pairs, and they have to go against each other to read each other. The winner of each pair is in the top, the loser's in the bottom, which I like as well. It's a very self-explanatory episode in that way, and I appreciate that. Fierce Delicious won the mini challenge, so she pairs up the people. We do have LaFille here instead of Eureka, which I don't really think changes much of anything. I think Fierce Delicious still chooses Lemon for the exact same reasons she did it originally. And then I would assume that, being that there are 2 UK queens and 2 US queens left in this season, and also 2 Canadian queens, it's a 2-2-2 split, which is very interesting. It just makes the most sense, I think, that they would be split up into Kennedy and Alexis, and then Cheryl and LaFille. And so looking at these groups, I do think our top 3 that we had in episodes 1 and 2 would win this challenge as well, as they did originally. I do think Kennedy Davenport did do the best. We got the physical comedy in there of like the wig flying back. That was super funny to me. I did not expect that. And she really provided a good character with her roast. Which is something that really nobody else did, and I appreciate that. So Kennedy is going to get the win here. Cheryl and Lemon are going to be high. This means that Alexis Mateo, Miss Fierce Delicious, and LaFille are all in the bottom. And considering that it is Kennedy Davenport here, and that Alexis saved her literally the episode prior, I see no reasoning as to why Kennedy would save either Fierce Delicious or LaFille. I just don't imagine it happening. So Alexis is going to be saved, and the bottom 2 of Miss Fierce Delicious and LaFille are going to lip sync to Hush Hush. Hush Hush by the Pussycat Dolls. I don't know why. My brain just shut off for a sec. I'm sorry. Anyways. So they're gonna do this lip sync. Fiercelicious did it originally, and she really killed it. And I think LaPhil could do a pretty good job as well, but Fiercelicious just has like a supreme cunt factor, is what I'm gonna call it, that really leans in to the music of the Pussycat Dolls. And so I have no reason to believe that LaPhil, would win this lip sync, and no reason to believe that Fiercelicious would lose it. So it just makes complete sense for me to say Shantae Tuesday to Fiercelicious and a sad sachet away to LaPhil. And we're going to move on to episode 5. Episode 5, we had ourselves the Snatch Game Rusical, which I think was an interesting challenge concept. This was the main one where I'm like, okay, I think there could be a couple of tweaks here that would make this like a better experience for everybody involved. The viewers and the contestants. But I do think it was an interesting task that they tried to do, and I would be interested in seeing something similar to it again, with this combination of the Rusical and the Snatch Game vibes. But the judging at this episode is super boring. I kept it exactly the same. I completely agree. Everything made sense to me. Lemon Susan Boyle, so fucking wonderful. It's a great impression, I must say. The bottom 3 makes complete sense to me. Looking at what we had originally in this scenario, I mean, we, as I just said, we have the same thing, but, and all the precursor and pretense up to it. I don't think anything really changes in the actual episode. Lemon said that she wants to play against the best in the end and reward the person who has the best track record up to this point with the safety, which I find very annoying. Hiding Closet said this somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where she said what I'm about to say. But she said in relation to Drag Race, all these contestants say that they want to bring the best to the end. They want to beat the best. And it's so weird that, like, you can literally, if a strong competitor is in the bottom 2 randomly, you can choose their lipstick or beat them in a lip sync and send them home, and then, bitch, you beat the best. You set out what you said you were gonna do. I don't know why this isn't good enough for you now. Like, genuinely, like, that's the way that it kind of happens. And I just don't understand the mentality of, oh, I want to keep around the best person so I can beat them in the end. I don't get it at all. Like, it obviously worked for Lemon in the original version of the season, but I will never understand the compulsion to do that. It just really doesn't make any sense to me. But regardless, I think because of those reasonings, Lemon is going to save Kennedy. And the bottom 2 of Alexis and Fiercelicious are going to lip sync to How Far I'll Go, the Alessia Cara version, and Alexis definitely wins this lip sync. I don't think there's really any argument about that. So sadly, Miss Fithalicious is gonna go home here, and we're gonna move on to the finale. Now I know this is gonna be controversial because people were fuming on the internet that Kennedy won her lip sync against Lemon, and I do not understand in the slightest. Kennedy did not know her words. She knew a couple of those words. I was gonna say a few, and then that felt generous. She really didn't know the words much at all. And so I don't understand the people online who are like, oh my god, Kennedy Davenport was so robbed here. And it's like, no, there's no way you're actually saying that. I don't see it. Kennedy didn't do a bad job of the lip sync, but Lemon knew more of the words and articulated herself better and everything. So I'm obviously gonna give the win in this scenario to Lemon because I do think she did better in this lip sync. And then in the lip sync between Alexis and Cheryl, again, there were some people being like, oh, Cheryl won this, and I just don't disagree. It was less than the people saying Kennedy should have won her lip sync very much. But I just, there's no reason, I think, for Cheryl to win this. I think Alexis commanded the stage better, had, better moves throughout it, get the energy better. This was Alexis's lip sync to lose. She really did a stellar job with this lip sync. And I guess for posterity's sake, I should mention the lip sync songs here were Hideaway by Kaiza between Kennedy and Lemon, and So Many Men, So Little Time by Michael Brown between Cheryl and Alexis. So I completely agree with the top two that the judges decided. I think Alexis and Lemon is the most fair top two based off those lip syncs. And the top two are going to lip sync to Love Can Move Mountains by Celine Dion. And I think they both did very similar jobs here in this lip sync. Nobody really did particularly better than the other, which means that we're obviously going to go by track record, and Lemon has a stellar track record on the original season and this season. Really, really amazing track record, whereas Alexis goes into the finale with the worst track record. So it really just makes sense to give the win to Lemon here, and that's what I decided to do in my judging as well. Here are the track records for the season. It's nice having such a small track record list, so I can actually, it can be blown up and look good and everyone can read it. But yeah, obviously Lake Lemon has a 4.2 track record, which is insane good for her, and it's symmetrical in this timeline, which is so fun. I love that. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed yourself. And leave your thoughts, feelings, and opinions down below. As always, I'll leave my Twitter handle linked down below if you want to go follow me on there. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, take care. Bye-bye.